Okay, this first one I'm going to do is a side neck stretch, and I'll be doing this for about 10 seconds. It's just for maintenance, so like a 5 RPE, and that's how all these neck stretches will be. So if you want to grow the muscle, I would suggest doing them at least 2 times this amount with a more great sort of intensity, like 7 to 9 intensity. So maybe go 2 to 4 times the amount of time. So these are all held for 10 seconds. I'm making sure that I'm holding onto my foot as an anchor to keep that shoulder down. So basically the ear just goes straight over to the shoulder, and that's all pretty much. I want to feel a nice stretch from the other ear with that greater angle on the right side of the screen. And here I'm slightly moving my shoulder forward and looking down into kind of where my pocket is. So it's down and forwards. And this one I'm subtly shifting my shoulder back, not too much, and I'm also looking up and just kind of off to the side. Kind of the opposite of that down into the pocket. And in this one, the idea is just to stretch my back. So I'm not doing anything too fancy with my legs or arms, really. I'm just making sure that they're kind of relaxed and in front of me, so I can just kind of deal with the back of my neck and the spinal erectors. And I'm making sure to kind of focus on one at a time by going left and right. I might find a spot on the floor to focus my gaze upon, known as a drishti in yoga. And here is a stretch for my core. I'm keeping my knees off of the ground, and the same thing with going side to side, and it's also a stretch for my neck too, so it's important that I add the neck in. Just like with that other stretch, my head did go with the stretch. So this is going to stretch all along the abs, and yeah, just to kind of get as even as a rock as you can. If you notice that you're out of time, then you can maybe just kind of go over to the other side to amount for whatever time there was to make it even. This is a piriformis stretch. It might be difficult to reach that arm all the way over, so you can just kind of push with your hand, with your elbow, and you don't need to have your hand quite touching your foot to do this. Some of these levels of mobility may be inaccessible for some, but this is what this kind of a stretch looks like. And the idea is to stretch. In here, it's the leg that's crossing over, not the one on the ground, that is going to have the stretch, and it leads all the way to the spine. It's the piriformis stretch. At this point, I like to just crack my back like they do at the chiropractor. So that was one. And here's another one. So that was the upper back. This is more of a lower back, or mid back, or spine, I should say. Here's my kind of figure 4 stretch for the leg rotators. So I'm going to get one external rotator here, and then the internal rotator behind me, and then just switch my leg position and do the same thing again. The idea is to keep a nice 90 degree, so you want to be kind of bending right over that knee, but also make sure that you feel the stretch and kind of right in the leg. Nothing too much, too heavy on the joints or anything like that. So I normally feel this closer to the hips. And these stretches are done for the fingers and the toes. So I'm making sure to put my toes into a stretch position, but it's just going to be done for the one foot. And here I'm going to do a closed in sort of stretch for my fingers, the kind of main knuckle sort of stretch. So the one foot has me doing this kind of a stretch for my hand, and then when I get to the other foot, I can then switch that stretch for the hand for the opposite direction for those larger knuckles. And I find that the thumbs are a bit tricky, so you have to be very gentle with your thumbs and just find what feels like a good stretch. At the end here, I'm just getting down to the very last parts, and it's just splaying the toes apart. I've already done the splaying of the fingers apart in a separate video. So I'm also resisting all of these stretches ever so slightly. I'm bringing attention with contracting musculature around wherever it is that I'm stretching at the same time to get a deeper stretch and hopefully build muscle size and that sort of thing. Strength, yeah. And these are just pushing down on all of the toes, getting them to curl and getting that stretch as well. I also decided to get my facial stretches in here because I thought it would be fairly easy to show. So I'm not yawning here, I'm just bringing my face into the biggest kind of stretching I can get. It's just opening my jaw very wide and trying to feel it through my cheeks. Here I'm doing a jaw circle and nothing feels painful here, it's just a bit of a stretch. And here I'm squishing my face as much as possible and I just feel it in my face, and that's pretty much it. Here I kind of bring my ears back too, and I kind of suck my lips in and squint my eyes really big and bring my eyebrows open as much as I can. Here I'm blowing air into one cheek while doing eye circles, so whichever direction my eyes are focused on, left or right, I'll bring the air into that cheek. These are 5 seconds each, and the last one is 10 seconds.